right, it should be going out now.
From your account?
From the show account. It is out there. Let's get some music going. So we had someone send over some music here. One of our followers. It was TQ Magic at XTQ Magic. This is his song here. We're going to play it while we get the show out there to the people.
Hey, Cleveland. What's up? Cleveland Browns, the Cleveland Browns, the Cleveland Browns, the Cleveland Browns is going talk of all towns. Look around the Browns. Oh, yes, he time. We've been sitting and just waiting, I want all of it. These people faking and they hating, just keep talking. You gon' feel us, they gon' hear us, we keep barking, Chris. And when it comes to Cleveland, we are all in this, yeah. Kenny from Baker, some may say throw sauce out safer. Anton get a bad rap like Vader. Going deep, taking toss off like taper. This bro freak get smoke like vapor. To the house, oh yeah, see you later. We tougher than alligators, we'll beat you right now and later. Woo. Got a blessing on flow cold like juice play, yes, just know you might lose. These crazy, call them typhoons, can't block them, oh yeah, nice moves. Who the stop, don't know, oh yeah, pick and choose. We really all hate to lose on every day, just watch the news. Winning all day, okay, yeah, that's a new hobby. Got some nice new bodies, our past records, we know it's shoddy. The city standing strong, we ain't never choppy. DP of the year, Miles, should worry about your play survival. Yeah, we got Odell well. He maybe sold out some hotels. You can't be mad, we doing well. You know them jokes that they will tell. Now watch the stories they will tell. Only time will tell. Watch where you throw it. We got water and
I think I got it out.
For these that we starving. Yeah, quite good. The Cleveland Legends, we about to be. There is no stopping me. I mean, we. That is how I got to be.
All right.
Oh yeah, Bengals, they just kittens. Ravens flew away, they hidden. Oh, those Steelers, who they kidding? Play with us, you will get smitten. Okay, yeah, we in the kitchen, bout to bake up, start the mixing. Oh yeah, damn, that bowl is missing.
I like it.
So we said,
That's a lot of puns.
Good stuff.
Cleveland Browns, the Cleveland
That's
Browns,
right.
the Cleveland Browns, the Cleveland Browns is going down. We'll talk
That would have been a perfect one for the post-game show. All right, let's kick this show off with a message from our friends over at Shack News. Because the Big Play Reflog Show is brought to you by Shacknews.com. Shack News, your go-to for gaming news, covers all your gaming content needs. They have the latest reviews and articles covering everything in the gaming universe, including an exclusive interview with the reigning classic Tetris World Champion. And the latest on MLB The Show 20. Got Javi Baez gracing the cover. That came out today. So head on over to shacknews.com. Get into the conversation. Click on that Shack News Twitter profile because when it comes to gaming news, there is only one site to visit, and that is shacknews.com. We're going interview heavy. We're going Browns heavy. Let's get it going. Welcome to the Big Play Cleveland Reflog Show.
Okay, do you need medical attention?
Yeah.
What is wrong?
I don't know. I ain't no goddamn doctor.
To the Big Play Cleveland Reflog Show. Today is Monday, October 21st, 2019. I am your host, Big Play Dave, alongside my main man, Mr. Chris McNeil.
Hey, I survived, Dave. I ran the full marathon yesterday, and I survived.
Be proud. Show the people that medal.
Look at that. Look at that.
First place.
I have the hardware to prove it right there.
Participation.
Columbus Marathon.
Good work. And the one and only Breezy Clee. How are you?
Hey, guys. Chris, congratulations. Job well done.
Thank you. Well, not all that well done. Nobody check my time, please.
Did you do the full? You made it?
I did the full. Yeah. I made the decision at the half. I decided to go for the full.
I thought you went half.
No. I went for the
Wow.
full. I got to the half, and then I made that decision, like that bad decision you make at the bar at the very end, where you're like, oh, I'll have one more drink. That's kind of what I did at the half. I was like, oh, I'm going well. I'll be fine. I can go
13 miles.
another 13.1
More.
miles. And about 1 mile later, I'm like, I am such an idiot. And now you're just locked in. You got to do it. You got everybody like cheering for you. You've got to finish it. And I did in like 12 hours.
Good work. Participation ribbon for you. Well done. Well done.
Don't participation ribbon.
That's right. All right, we're running late, so let's get right into it. So we are going to kick off the show tonight with a special interview with Jonathan T-Bone Smith from 97.1, The Fan in Columbus. Talk some Browns, talk some music with him. We'll get into Power Rank Monday, presented by HoverHelmets.com. Top 3 scary movies of all time. We got Halloween coming up. Turn that off if you're scared of Halloween movies. Then we'll chat with our buddy Asif Khan, aka Techno Sucks, here on Twitter, CEO of Shacknews.com. Talk Browns with him, see what he's got going on over at Shack News. Then we'll get into the latest Cleveland sports headlines, courtesy of our friends over at Cleveland Clothing Company. Do some over-unders for this Browns-Patriots matchup that we've got going on here that we're all super positive about.
Absolutely.
Super positive.
Absolutely.
Super positive. Hit you with a couple Would You Rathers, end the show with our bold predictions for the week. I say we get right into it. It's interview time. Chris, bring on your guy.
So our first interview of the evening is Mr. Jonathan T-Bone Smith, host of Common Man and T-Bone, weekdays, 3 p.m. to 6, here on 97.1, The Fan in Columbus, home of the Buckeyes. And you can find him at Twitter at Degenerate T-Bone. T-Bone, welcome.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
This is great. I'm so used to listening to you every day on my ride home, and now I finally get you on my show. Thank you for being a part of it tonight. One of the things
first of all, the check is in the mail, and you're welcome. That was very nice of you to say that. I appreciate it. But that's what I do is I go on people's podcasts. I pay them to say nice things about me, and then I just listen back to them all the time to give me self-confidence. So thank you guys very much for that.
That's what you got to do,
Chris.
That's what you got to do in this business, right? So one of the unique things about your show, I mean, you guys do talk sports, obviously, but you also kind of go into a lot of pop culture, a lot of 90s stuff, which I love because you guys are kids of the 90s, you and Common Man, Mike Riccardotti, and you guys talk a lot of music. Now, this past week, the Rock Hall announced who they have as their on the ballot for the Rock Hall for 2020 for the next Rock Hall induction. Have you had a chance to peruse that list yet?
Yeah, I glanced over it. I definitely have strong feelings about like Soundgarden. I don't know. That has to just be because they just came eligible, right? I mean, there's no reason why they wouldn't be in there otherwise. In my mind, they should be
you would think so, right?
First ballot Hall of Famers, no question.
Completely agree with you. Any of the others on here? Like, I'll go down the list. I'll just give you some. Give me your quick hits on these, okay? Pat Benatar.
All right. See, I was hoping you'd start with Motorhead so I could be like, hell yeah, brother. That's where that's where my love is.
I threw you the curve right off the bat.
Yeah, I'll say let's see who else we need to put in first. Let's leave Pat Benatar on the maybe list.
Okay, Depeche Mode. I'll make it even easier on you, right?
Yeah, no. I'm like, this is the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, right? Isn't that what we're calling this? Like the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? I'm sorry to be so literal with it, but that's where I kind of come down.
The Doobie Brothers.
Yeah, I put the Doobie Brothers in there.
The Doobie Brothers have got to be in. I once saw them in concert. Good stuff. Whitney Houston.
Yeah.
Yes for Whitney Houston.
Again, she's a legend. She's a legend.
That's what I think of rock
right?
and roll. Yeah, rock and roll, Whitney Houston, the Doobie Brothers, definitely.
Judas Priest.
Now, Judas Priest, yeah, let's go. That's for sure. Yeah.
Kraftwerk.
Not as familiar. You have to remember, I was raised like very religious. So a lot of my I just found out about Judas Priest in March. So I'm just still learning. No.
MC5. Does that do anything for you?
I don't know who that is.
Nope,
Should I?
You got me on that one. Motorhead. I know you know who that is.
Yeah. I refer to my previous state.
That's right. 9 Inch Nails, Trent Reznor, Cleveland.
I hate to be like, I feel like I'm right. I feel like I'm going to be like the Pro Football Hall of Fame voters and just let everyone in. But yeah, 9 Inch Nails for sure. They have to be in.
The Notorious B.I.G.
He has to be in. Yeah.
Biggie. Notorious.
Once
B.I.G.
again, love Biggie. This is the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So I know I should be over that by now, but I'm going to say no.
Rufus featuring Shaka Khan. Shaka Khan. Come on. No? Nothing? No love there?
You sound like you're stumping. Are you stumping? What does Bree think? I haven't heard anything from Bree yet. Bree, what do you think?
I was still
She's
too
old.
young for this.
Yeah, I was going to say she's too young. She's too young. How about Todd Rundgren?
Yeah.
Everybody's heard of him.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, sure. That's
on the
great.
drums?
No.
Let's go.
There's a ton on this list that I have no idea who they are. Bree,
Okay.
are you with me there?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
No idea.
Okay, we already touched on
It
sound.
is the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It's not the It's not the Rock and Roll Dancing with the Stars. Like it's supposed to be the Hall of Fame. Now Todd Rundgren is a little more. I'll give you that, but still, like we should
Bang on
know
the
more
drum.
of these artists. I agree.
T-Rex. Thin Lizzy.
Again,
Chris, get
Thin
to the
Lizzy
point.
I know was very influential.
Okay.
Every
How many
band
are
has
there?
a Thin Lizzy shirt, so I will give them that.
Okay, that was the last one. Oh, we got one more here. How about the Dave Matthews Band? What are your thoughts on the Dave Matthews Band?
All right. I think that the Dave Matthews Band should be in because
There we
they
go.
took,
That's
like,
T-Bone.
everyone in high school and college, when I was in high school and college, had a jam band or knew someone in a jam band, and they never did a damn thing. They like played at these loser shows and no one ever saw them. They never toured. And then Dave Matthews Band came along and made millions of dollars doing the exact same thing. So shouldn't they get some credit for that? Like for taking the genre that was just like slackers smoking weed and playing hacky sack and no one going to the shows, and then they turn that into like a multi-million-dollar business. I think they should get in just for that.
Preach, brother, right there. So another band that's not up for it yet, but I know is very close to your heart is Creed. Do you think Creed's going to eventually go into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
I'm going to fight anyone who puts Creed in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Thank you.
My co-host is a huge Creed backer, and I say that Creed is the Nickelback of America.
Ouch.
Like that's
Yes.
all we.
Bold
That's,
statement right there.
yeah.
I thought they were the same band.
Now, see, that's
Chad
exactly right.
Kroger
Now,
just sings for both of them.
I don't say that though as a snob. I'm not saying that as a snob because I will stand really hard for Limp Bizkit when they come due, even though that may be the most awful music in the world. I don't care. That was like my first. That was when I got my car in high school. I was like, I need to listen to something that's not Amy Grant and Christian music because of my church upbringing, and that was the first band that spoke to me with break stuff and nookie and yeah, I just like swearing and yelling angry things. And then I got over that after like 6 months, but that was my first like hard rock love.
They need in right after Smash Mouth needs to go in my opinion. Just a great band.
Right. I'm not saying it's a justifiable stance. It's just a stance that I have. I'm not saying it's a good one.
All right, changing gears a little bit. Right now with the Buckeyes, where do you sit? You see what they did on Friday, just absolutely obliterating Northwestern as we all expected. What do you think about this team? What's the buzz right now in Columbus? Do you think it's really national championship or bust, or where do you come out on that?
Yeah, it's odd to say that in Ryan Day's first year, right? But yeah, this team has the national championship is kind of now starting to feel like an expectation, or at least a college football playoff berth is an expectation. But it's hard to argue, man, when you watch this team play. And if people who aren't familiar with our show, maybe if you live in Northeast Ohio or whatever, like our show's the one that always gets yelled at by the very rabid Buckeye fan base. That
We don't have
we're
many
like,
of
hey,
those.
you know, they won.
I mean, we really don't.
Right.
There aren't many.
Like, hey,
what are you talking about?
No, right. Like our show is the one that when they win by 30, we'll pick it apart and nitpick and say, yeah, but they didn't do this, they didn't do that. I don't know if they could beat Alabama with that effort. We get yelled at for being negative. So
haters, you guys are just
please,
haters.
yeah, we're hating it. We're not just haters, we're hating ass haters. That's what we are. So I say this to set up what I'm about to say, which is I think it's a crime that this team is not either first or second in the college football rankings right now. And I think when the playoff selection committee rankings come out, assuming they take care of business this weekend and continue rolling, I think there'll be one or two when those come out, because this team is about as complete of a team as I've seen, even more so, I would say, than the 2014 team. Right now, this defense is playing out of its mind. I think this offense has as many, if not more, weapons. And Justin Fields is he is truly impressing me right now. I think this guy has got worlds of potential that aren't even really being unlocked yet. He's getting there. He's scratching the surface. But yeah, I would love to see what he's going to look like in January, and hopefully we will.
Now, when you look at, especially with Wisconsin just losing, what do you see in the upcoming weeks? Are there any teams that really scare you? Are there any trap games that are out there?
Well, trap game is an interesting word. You always have to be worried about that with college football teams. I look at Wisconsin, and I thought going into this, before they lost to Illinois, I thought Ohio State would win this game like a 35-10 type scoreline. Because I think if you're a one-dimensional team, and I'm sorry, I'm not a Jack Cohn acolyte. I don't think he's the guy for them. I would love to see him try to beat this Ohio State defense with his arm. And I would love to see Ohio State once again derail the career or the Heisman campaign for a Wisconsin running back. I think there's been a precedent for them doing that. I think they can do it again. And if they're just going to try to run the football against this Buckeye defense, like Jonathan Taylor Thomas, that's what I always call him. Yeah, Jonathan Taylor could absolutely Jonathan Taylor touchdown.
Yes, home improvement.
There's my child of the '90s moment right there.
Right there.
Jonathan Taylor touchdown.
Now, what do you think about Al Borland? What are your thoughts on Al Borland?
Oh, God, with the plaid. I mean, he was America's sex symbol back in the 90s, right? I mean, there was just that smoldering sexuality that we all got with that chest hair kind of creeping out over the top. You know what was going on. He was probably listening to Dave Matthews Band and getting laid. That's probably what he was doing.
That's right. Weren't we all, right? Well, not you with your upbringing.
Yeah.
That wasn't happening.
Well, no, I couldn't. I wasn't allowed. No, but I honestly, let Jonathan Taylor try to go. He'll get 90, 100 yards and a touchdown or two, and that'll be their offense. And I'm fine with that. I just don't see them putting up a ton of points against this defense, at least not enough to keep up with the offense. So, yeah, Penn State looked tricky going into this week, but then I saw them against Michigan, and I think, okay, well, that was Michigan hasn't impressed me all year, and suddenly they're hanging with Penn State for 4 quarters in Happy Valley. I just don't see a team in the Big Ten that's within 2 touchdowns of the Buckeyes at this moment.
No, and I see it the same way. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out. You touched on, Ryan Day has just not skipped a beat. What are people talking about, Ryan Day versus Urban Meyer and kind of that transition and the differences in the two? Is there any scuttlebutt there on the ground that you hear that really makes him set apart and different than what Urban's brought to the table in the past?
Well, first of all, we are in charge of all Columbus scuttlebutt. We create it, we manage it, we curate it.
I had to use that word today, so I got it out of the way. It's kind of the end of the day here, T-Bone, and I need to do it. I knew it. It's been at the back of my mind, so thank you for letting me use that as an outlet.
I love it. It's a great word. We've had these discussions on our show about those differences between the offenses, because Urban's offenses always felt like there was about 5 or 6 looks you were going to get. If they scouted it right and if they game planned it right, you were going to lose 60-0. But if Mark D'Antonio was sitting across from you on the sideline from Urban, and after a quarter he was like, yeah, I think I know what they're doing, and he made adjustments, Urban's turn to adjust never seemed to quite go as well for whatever reason. And Ryan Day, I think, is a different guy. I think Ryan Day has the ability to kind of, we were calling it the 50-cent offense on the show today because it takes 2 quarters. But that second quarter, you look, they put up 20.
That's why they pay you the big bucks points. Too. Is that kind of 50-cent offense, 2 quarters? I mean, that's really that's A
Well,
material.
why do you think they let us be in charge? Why do you think they let us be in charge of all the scuttlebutt? It's because of references like that. It's where
pull
we get
that
to
out.
start.
It's gold,
No,
radio gold.
No, so I think Ryan Day being able to adjust this offense as the game goes along is where that's what gives me the most confidence. More than anything else I've seen is just he takes a quarter, he kind of looks it all over and says, oh, okay, they're not going to be able to stop this. They run a couple series focusing on one weakness of the defense and break another team. And they're not playing LSU and Alabama and Florida's defenses right now, but they played some decent defenses and pretty much neutralized them after 2 quarters.
So another thing is you're a Browns fan, just like I am and the other 2 on this show. So what do you think? Are the Browns going to win out? Is that basically what you're seeing for the rest of the season?
Yeah. I mean, I kind of predicted we would lose by 30 to the Titans.
Of course.
And then I thought we would smoke the Ravens on the road. I mean, we all saw the season coming. It's pretty much exact. I thought Baker would have 5 touchdowns and 700 interceptions, whatever he's got. This is pretty much what I saw. So
predictable.
No, it was super predictable. We've all seen this coming. I think that I will say this. It would not shock me if this Browns team, being as stupid as they tend to be, goes out and plays a really competitive game against the Patriots or even beats them.
Yes.
And then goes to Denver and loses by 4 touchdowns.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at with this team right now. Is they just seem like they'll do the opposite of what you think they're going to do, or when you start to look like they're at their rock bottom, they all get chippy and say no one believes in us, and they put together a hell of a game. And then the next week they're riding high and they get smoked by an inferior team. So, at this point, my hope is that we can have Baker Mayfield start all 16 games, because I still don't believe that's happened since Tim Couch, if I'm not mistaken.
I think that's correct.
I'm still taking baby steps on. Let's get one quarterback to start all 16 games for the team. And then maybe we can start looking towards playoffs. And then maybe we can start looking towards winning a playoff game. And incremental steps is where I'm at right now.
It's all we can do, right?
I was just going to ask, living in Columbus, I lived there years ago, and it was always split, kind of down the middle. You didn't see many Cleveland fans out and about. I saw a lot of Bengals fans down there, some Pittsburgh fans. What's the feeling now with Cleveland being somewhat relevant?
Wait, somewhat relevant?
Yeah,
Come on, give us more credit than that.
We're all hype right now at this point.
Bree, compared to the Bengals.
Ouch! Yeah,
I mean,
have the Bengals.
Yeah.
On.
Yeah, I know that things have flipped, but I felt like there were always a lot of Bengals fans there.
Cincinnati does have a parade to look.
Though. Yeah, it's sad that the Bengals, as bad and as awful as they are, if they had a different head coach, I feel like they'd have 3 wins right now. With the Seattle game, with the Jacksonville game, these are games they were in the fourth quarter and they just couldn't figure it out. And a better coach might have done something there. But no, to answer your question, Bree, I think that when I was growing up in Columbus, and a lot of my friends were Browns fans and Reds fans, oddly enough.
Yeah, I heard that.
So that was a split that it's not as much now, but a lot of guys my age, mid 40s to mid 30s, that age range, I think there's a lot of guys who were kind of in that boat, because you had, Big Red Machine earlier, and then the end of that would be the 90s Reds, coupled with the Browns having some, pretty good teams and significant teams over that time period too. And I think that has mostly gone away. Now I feel like I'm trying to be conservative here, but 60, 70% Cleveland sports fans. Sadly, as you guys know, there's been a decent amount of migration from Cleveland down to Columbus. And thankfully there's, people now getting back to Cleveland and filling, the downtown up again and stuff like that. But I think a lot of that migration over the last 30 years has kind of caused what I see now, which is, when we talk Bengals topics, we mostly get crickets, but we talk anything Browns and it just lights up the phones. And that's not always an indicative, it's not scientific, some fan bases are more passionate than others, but yeah, it's really changed in the last probably 20 years.
Well, it's much better talking either one of those than the Bears, like you went off on today because of Riccardotti. I'll tell you that much. For those of you who don't know,
Yeah,
his
we got to
co-host
humor him
happens
every
to be a
We got to
Bears
humor
fan.
him every now. Yeah.
That's right. So every once in a
Yeah,
while, he
my
has to go
co-host.
into the Bears rabbit hole.
Yeah, it's like his version of therapy. We got to let him have it every now and then. Just let him get it off his chest, and then that helps him. It's cathartic. The way we help him out.
Indeed, indeed. Well, thank you so much for being on T-Bone. This was a blast. We're going to have to do it again.
Absolutely. When Limp Bizkit gets nominated for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, I'll be your first guest. I'll be happy to come back.
We're going to have to go break it down again. Go Dave Matthews Band. That's
right.
Jonathan.
There you go.
Jonathan T-Bone Smith, host of Common Man and T-Bone Catching weekdays, 3 p.m. to 6, 97.1, The Fan in Columbus, or on Twitter at Degenerate T-Bone. T-Bone, thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, guys. Thanks. We'll do it again soon.
T-Bone getting some Bengals talk in there. Nice stuff. Chris, I didn't know how many bands were up for nomination. I was like, oh no, he's gonna do 100.
Was that excruciating or what? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a lot there. You
Oh,
guys, that wasn't
great.
good radio?
No,
I enjoy.
that was fantastic radio, Chris.
Yeah, T-Bone was awesome. He's always great. He's always good stuff, good time. He gets the show.
That's right. Hey, let's go back-to-back interviews.
Right.
Our second interview tonight, we've got our buddy, Cleveland Browns fan at TechnoSucks here on Twitter, the CEO of Shacknews.com, Asif Khan. How are you, sir?
I'm doing better than the Browns record.
Oh, come on. He brings it right
Get that
away.
negativity
Really?
out of here.
Really?
He just
It's
came
not
with the right.
negativity. I'm just a realist. I'm sorry. I came in swinging. I've been able to call into the show all season, so I have a lot of pent up Browns fan frustration.
Don't we all?
Could be the Jets right now.
Or the Broncos.
We actually might be the Jets.
Or the
next
Eagles.
Sunday.
Or the Bears. We could be any of them.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of crappy teams in the NFL now, but it was funny this off season, like seeing all these people pile onto our bandwagon.
Yeah.
And now they're all gone. 6 weeks in, there's just a lot of people that are calling for Freddie Kitchens' head, saying Baker's overrated, like all this nonsense. So no, I wanted to call in and just kind of be the voice of reason. This is the Cleveland Browns. Reflog held a parade for us going 0-16, and we're only not even 2 years removed from that.
That's right. The bandwagon's going to start.
Where we're
going to start listing to one side though, after we beat the Patriots, and everybody crowds back on because you watch.
If we beat the Patriots,
yeah. T-Bone called it.
If we beat the Patriots, it's like we're America's team all over again. So it's like, I'd love to see it. And, this is the kind of Browns team that would do something like that. Lose to the Titans and then end up beating the Patriots.
America would immediately rally behind us if we go and beat the Patriots. I mean, that's just unless you're from Boston, of course. Everyone else in America is going to be like, oh, I love this team again. I don't care about all this Baker negativity that we had before. That's all gone because you beat the Patriots. You beat the evil empire of the moment. So, yeah, I think that would bring us right back to where we need to be. Now, if that's going to happen, now you got Freddie Kitchens, right, going with an extra week to prepare, which is probably bad for a guy like that. I don't know if we want him thinking he already does. To be honest with you.
Get out of here.
God, Belichick got a short week, which, maybe that does help us. I don't know. But it's going to be interesting to see a really, really good coach on a short week versus a very, very marginal coach at best with a very long 2 weeks. That's going to be the matchup.
I can't wait. I can't wait to see how many pass plays Freddie has cooked up for 1st and 5 on the goal line.
Ooh.
Come on.
How many empty backfield shotgun pass plays can we possibly run in the red zone?
I just
5
can't.
yards away.
I can't wait
I
until
don't know if you guys.
comes back and we cannot use him the way we should. It'll be nice to have a player in the backfield we don't know how to use.
You got to listen to his press conference from today. He went after Tony Grossi about Dallas last night before halftime and essentially doing the same thing that he was trying to do against the Seahawks when we were up 20-6. Very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But I actually appreciated that he went after Grossi.
No, and like I'm not on the Fire Kitchens bandwagon. Like I think part of the problem in Cleveland for the past 20 years or even longer has been the impatience of our ownership with management just in general. And it's like maybe I wouldn't have hired Kitchens to begin with, but I'm kind of the opinion that we should give him a chance. I do think that we could take the play calling away from him because he probably has too much other stuff going on.
But that was
didn't he basically
his
take
strength.
away a touchdown from us though? Because like it was last week when he threw the challenge flag as Landry was scoring the touchdown. So it's just like I feel like he seems frazzled at times, especially in the red zone. So it might not be the worst idea to have talking about Bill Belichick. He has someone who calls the offensive plays for him.
Yeah.
So it's just the greatest football coach ever, by some standards. Feel that is doing that. So I'm just saying, like, why does Freddie think that he can do everything? I guess, and I know like we had a similar situation last year where Hugh Jackson wanted to take over play calling. You saw how that turned out. But I think that's one thing we could do where it's like, okay, Freddie, let's take play calling away from you and let's actually start running the ball from 5 yards away from the end zone. With Nick Chubb. But, I think that, like, people, like, they forget that, like, we have a really bad owner. And the Haslams make terrible decisions, like, all the time. And it's, like, it's the greatest tragedy of being a Browns fan that we just have to sit here and suffer through the terrible ownership decisions. And there's nothing we can do about that. We can't, like, sit here and be like, hey, we should fire the Haslams. But I would. It's like I've lost count of how many terrible decisions they've made. The Manziel draft pick was pushed by them. All the different coaching decisions, like throwing Haley in with Hugh Jackson, like just the things that they've done. I haven't been a fan of for a really long time, so it's been frustrating. So, like, I hate seeing people point the finger at Freddie or point the finger at Baker. When I think there's like bigger problems, that are going on with our team. And I'm not defending Freddie's play calling. I think he's been like kind of terrible at times. And it's like it's almost
kind of terrible.
I love
that. Kind of terrible.
Kind of terrible.
Kind of terrible.
And then, but like other times you're like, okay, this is a decent coach, but there was definitely other people that they could have brought in that are more experienced that probably could handle the amount of personalities that we have in our locker room. Whereas I'm not really sure if Freddie's that guy. So I'm not like saying let's fire him, but I understand where people are coming from.
Whoa!
I just think the problems are bigger.
He's not the leader to round up this crew in the locker room, but he also isn't a good. He shouldn't be calling the plays because he's not a good play caller anymore. So what do we have him here for?
What is it you say you do here?
Right?
So to wear that hoodie on the sideline, look good, sell merch. I don't know.
Sell merch.
Spoken like a true Cleveland fan. Sell merch.
I'm telling you, man, we're 2-4 here, and like going into the season, we were winning the Super Bowl, or we're going 12-4.
But isn't that on us?
I don't know. Wait, what?
Isn't that on us though? I mean, we put all of these expectations on this team. He's a rookie head coach.
Oh no, I didn't.
Okay.
I didn't.
Okay.
I'm a Cleveland Browns fan. I knew that like 10-6 would be like winning the Super Bowl for us.
Yeah, correct.
For me, winning the division would be like winning the Super Bowl. But I don't know, man. I think it was the broader media that kind of put that on the Browns.
Yeah.
I remember I was in Vegas before the season started, like in August, and we had like the 4th best odds for winning the Super Bowl. I was like, okay. I'm like, this is a little out of hand right now. And it had nothing to do with the diehard Browns fans. Like, none of us think that we all want to win the Super Bowl, but we're not going to be surprised if we don't, you know? And I just think like 2-4, and it's the way that we've been losing that's just been kind of deflating and been very vintage Browns, you know, like being up 20-6 against the Seahawks, and then just the amount of tipped balls in that game that led to interception. You know, it reminded me of Braylon Edwards and his stone hand.
Oh my God.
You know, like people want to blame Baker. You want to blame Baker for all of those picks that game? Like, I don't think that's really fair.
I'm with you there. Speaking of losing, here in the studio, we've got you on repeat, a GIF of you at the World Series with Jason Kipnis coming up to bat. It's been playing on loop for a long time up here. Where did this come from? Was this on Fox with Joe Buck?
Yeah, this was during the televised broadcast of Game 7 of the World Series from Cleveland. Bottom of the 9th, tied 6-6. And yeah, I'm praying to the baseball gods, and this guy next to me is like, God doesn't give a crap about Cleveland, right? And I'm like, yeah, I know.
Is that what he said?
But that's literally what I'm like. That's like literally what's happening there.
And then you just nod in agreement.
I nod. I'm like, yeah, I know. But it's worth a shot. No, yeah, that was crazy. That bottom of the 9th was crazy. And then of course the skies opened up and just delayed the game right when the Indians had some momentum. But yeah, that was, God, what was that, 2 years ago, 3 years ago?
I blacked it out from my memory.
I know. You know what sucks about that game? Besides losing to the freaking Cubs, it sounded like a Cubs home game.
It did. Yeah.
Because tickets were like $1 gajillion to go to that freaking game. No one in Cleveland, like no real diehard fans could afford to go. So it's like all these rich, people from Chicago, or all like the fans that like hide in like the woodwork, came out to like support their Cubs. It was crazy. It was a real bummer. I'm like, why does it sound like it's a Cubs home game? But so I had to be louder and rowdier. It's just funny that that's the moment that they caught on camera, because I was out of control. I was like, it was the most out of control I've been as a Cleveland fan, because like I was surrounded by Cubs fans, and I was like front row behind home plate, just talking mad smack, because they were waving the victory flag in like the 6th inning or something, and I was like, ooh, like that did not sit well with me. But yeah, that was definitely a day. And then yeah, that happened, and my phone just exploded like the minute that I was on TV. And I go on my forum at Shacknews, the chatty, and like there's a thread, and they're like, did we just see Asif? Was that awesome? Was that awesome? And it was just like, by the time I hadn't even left the ballpark, and there was already that animated GIF of me floating around. It was ridiculous. And then yeah, it's become like my universal reaction GIF. It kind of, something bad happens, it's pretty good. If something good happens, it's pretty good. It's pretty much my universal reaction GIF now.
It's the epitome of Cleveland fandom.
The saddest thing, man, like I've been to, it's probably like 22 or 24 games like for the Tribe, and I've never witnessed them win a single game. So I'm like done. I'm never going back. Like that was it.
Yeah. Please don't. Please don't.
I've been to like Cavs wins. I've been to Browns win, but I have never seen the Cleveland Indians win in person. I don't think I ever will, because I'm just like, I don't know how you top that game. Like I know that we lost it, but man, that was like one of the best baseball games I've ever witnessed.
Yeah, we did a power rank of our favorite Cleveland sports memories. My number one was Rajay Davis, even though we lost. That was number one.
It's amazing.
That's kind of sad. But you see,
mine's Bernie Kosar getting hit late. So, I mean, that's my favorite of all. Against the Jets, it's amazing what we have in our fandom here in Cleveland.
Oh yeah. Well, hey, let's bring it up here because we got 24-0 Patriots at halftime. Just FYI.
The Browns are trapped.
I guess recently, but like the most recent positive Cleveland sports memory I have is it must have been that the Indiana Cavs series, the year before LeBron left. He hits that game winner and then jumps up on the announcer's table.
Oh yeah,
that was probably like the last good Cleveland memory that I have, and that's almost 2 years old at this point. But I really think that LeBron's last year in Cleveland, he should have won the MVP. He had I just think the best season he's ever had, probably ever will have, and he took that donkey of a team to the NBA Finals. Because we were not good, and they they turned Kyrie Irving into 4 mediocre players that season, and it just, I don't know. It was a miracle that we even made it that far. But I guess even that is shrouded in some negativity. You can't be a Cleveland fan and not just be like, that shot was nice. You have to caveat it with, hey, the team kind of sucks that year.
This is the first show in quite some time that we've talked Cavs, Indians, and Browns.
All with the same guest.
I know. I intentionally brought up the Cavs because you guys have been ignoring them.
We have.
Things start off. We kick off tomorrow, and you know what? They're gonna suck again. Spoiler alert.
All right, we'll get some Darius Garland talk in here. But hey, let's talk Shack News for a second. You've been supporting us for a long time, going back to the post-game show. We've seen a lot of ups, we've seen a lot of downs, mostly downs. But how is Shack News connected to the city of Cleveland? Is just your fandom as CEO bringing it in there? Because I see it in the articles every now and again. I see it in the chat.
Yeah, it's basically just me. I'm the CEO, owner, or whatever, majority shareholder at Shack. And, back when the Shack was founded, the original founders were from Dallas, and they used to talk a lot about the Cowboys and the Mavericks and stuff. And that was just kind of off-topic conversation that they would get into. And, we have this forum that's been around for 23 years. So, every Sunday there's this massive NFL thread. And I just, I had kind of become known as the guy who supports the Browns, no matter what. And every week during that, the 1-31 years, it wasn't sarcastic. I would just post, "This is the week that we're going to win, you guys." And eventually they did beat the Jets, but it took a while. But yeah, that 0-16 season, I was sitting there. I watched all 16 of those terrible games. Not all of them were bad. We had some close losses there, but yeah. So they kind of just knew me already as the guy who kind of bled Cleveland, and I've just been a Cleveland fan my whole life. So it was just something where I saw what you guys were doing. And I already had seen what Reflog was doing with the parade, and I was like, this is kind of cool. And I was like, yeah, let's get our brand out there. And it's kind of I feel like even though they're not necessarily one-to-one, like sports and video games, there's a huge overlap in the readership, viewership, the demographics that pay attention to both things. So I said, why not have us be this sponsor of the Northeast Ohio sports scene? Because I think you guys are doing better than half of these so-called analysts on radio or whatever. I basically listen to you, and I listen to the Tomahawk Show for my Browns analysis.
Nice.
Not ESPN Cleveland.
No Grossi.
Maybe a little. No Grossi, and a little 92.3 The Fan here and there, but
there you go.
No, for the most part, yeah, it's you guys in the Tomahawk Show.
That's
so
awesome.
I jumped at the opportunity to kind of align our brand with it, and then Shack's been, we've been around for 23 years. I've been running the site for 5 years, and we're doing really good. We've had a really crazy year where we're featured in like a commercial for Borderlands 3
Yes.
and for Mario Maker 2, and so yeah, it's been really good.
What's that like?
Growing.
Like, Borderlands 3 is one of the biggest games of the year, and their promotions. Like, I saw that come out right away, and you guys were the first featured review on all of their promos. Like, what's that like as the CEO?
Oh, it just feels great. You work really hard, and it's nice to get that kind of validation from a studio of that size, a Gearbox. And I can tell you, like, our reviews editor is a huge Borderlands fan, Blake. He has Claptrap like tattooed on his body. So for him to he was freaking out. It was like a big deal for our whole team. Those are like little wins that don't really seem like a big deal, but they kind of are. When you're competing with like IGN and all those other companies. Yeah, for us to lead the commercial or lead that trailer, that was huge. That was crazy. It kind of speaks to the growth that we're experiencing.
Another big thing you guys did is you sponsored the 2019 Classic Tetris World Championship. Tell us a little bit about that.
Oh yeah, so I was watching that last year, and we're pretty big into covering esports at Shack, and you want to talk about growth in video games, like just the amount of video game competitions happening every weekend is just insane. But one of the most intense things that I've ever witnessed was the Classic Tetris World Championship.
Which is incredible to me. That's great.
Yeah. I mean, this team's like 32, 34 years old or something. And
you're right.
Yeah, you had this guy last year who was 16 who won the whole thing. And it's crazy to see like a whole new generation of people were introduced to Tetris because of that. And he's like, his name's Joseph Staley, and he's popular on Twitch and stuff. So this year you had like a 15-year-old kid that was in the semifinal. But yeah, they came up to us earlier this year like, hey, do you want to be a sponsor for this? And I was like, sure. It's kind of right up our alley. It's an old school game. I think Tetris is one of the most timeless video games like ever. Like, it's like, if the aliens landed, I would just hand them a Game Boy with Tetris on it. Be like, here, this is the best our civilization has to offer.
Now, what system do they play on?
So this is the NES version.
Okay.
And they had this overlay that they run on top of it that tells you things like what percent of line clears where Tetris is, and like all these crazy, like deeper analytics. They had some like psychology, I guess some psychology department from a university was there studying the decision making of the players, because their thought process is just like way faster than the average human, basically, the amount of things that they're doing. But yeah, it's crazy. Like once you get to the top 8 or the top 4 Tetris players in the world, they're just so insanely good, but you're kind of in awe. This kid Joseph, like, it's something like, I think level 23 or level 24 in Tetris. It's like insanely fast. Like most humans wouldn't be able to even drop it. Like the pieces just fall too fast for you to do anything. He was able to actually clear lines at those levels. So it's just fun to watch him, because he's kind of like got this, I'd have to describe it almost like a boxing match, like this rope-a-dope kind of feel to him, where he starts out slower and then he comes back later in the matches because of his talent in later levels. So that was really, it led to this really compelling content. And it's just, the actual tournament's hilarious. Like the announcers are talking smack to the players, and the players can hear it. Like the crowd is yelling out at them. Like it's not that, like, it's not some big arena, where like you can barely hear hecklers. Like if you're being heckled, you're gonna hear it, and they like kind of encourage it. So it's just a really fun old school tournament. And yeah, the creator of Tetris was there this year. And yeah, we were a sponsor alongside the Tetris company, Enhanced Games, the guys who did Tetris Effect, and a couple others. So yeah, it's just kind of been something that we're doing. We're definitely an outlet that covers esports. And if you go to the site, like we have an interview with the winner and a couple other players. But we also have our own esports league. So we did 2 tournaments this year, one at QuakeCon and one at E3. And we kicked off our over 30 league. So you have to be over the age of 30 to compete in it at E3. We try to
Love that.
do these gauntlet.
You need to start an over 40.
An over.
But over 30 in esports is like ancient.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Like most of these kids, like they're like 16. You know what I mean? Like
they're over 40. It might be like me and 2 other dudes, so I have a shot then.
Oh, you're in.
No, dude, not on the Shaq, man. Like we have there's like Shaq
true.
dads, and now there's Shaq granddads popping up on our forum. So no, like there's. I'm telling you, like if I did over 40, I'd be able to field it with just Shackers. But it's
great.
I think over 30 is just funny enough because like in real life, 30 is not that old. But in video game competition terms, you're ancient. You know
That's
what I mean?
the
Like
senior
most
tour.
of these dudes,
It's the senior tour. You can't call it that anymore, like the PGA, but it's the senior tour.
Well, in the PGA, they call it the Champions Tour. So we actually borrowed that. We call it the Shaq Champions League. So if you're in the over 30 league, you're part of the Shaq Champions League.
Genius right there.
So yeah, we did our first tournament there in LA at E3. It was first round was Mortal Kombat 2, second round was Smash Brothers Ultimate. The next round was Rocket League. Then we did Power Stone on a Dreamcast, and then the final was Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 on a GameCube. So we went old school and dragged out some CRT TVs and had people play with like old archaic controls.
Where did you find a Dreamcast?
One of my staff members had 2.
No way.
So he had. I don't know. We have some collectors on our staff. I had to go out and buy Power Stone because he didn't have a copy of Power Stone, so I went on Amazon for that. But also, I don't know if you've ever been to the store around here called The Exchange. They have some pretty solid used Dreamcast stuff, surprisingly.
Where is this?
It's not that hard to find it. The Exchange. I know we have one in Canton. We have a couple in Canton. I'm not sure.
You know what the next competition you should do? Speaking of dated games, now that we got Top Gun being remade, the old Top Gun for NES.
Oh yeah.
Just to land on the aircraft carrier. That could be the whole competition.
I like it.
That was like freaking impossible.
Yeah, I love it.
Oh my God, I spent so much of my childhood not being able to do that. And I don't know if I ever did it successfully. If I did, I was probably just so tired at the time I didn't realize I was doing it. But it is the most difficult thing to do about any kind of a video game. And that just drove me nuts. So there's your competition. You guys got to do that.
No, you're dead right. No, I'm going to put that in we have like this list of ridiculous video game challenges that we just kind of are keeping them like, a file for us. But yeah, I'll add that for sure. Cause that is, I'm in the same boat, man. I remember that just being super frustrating. The flying game I liked on NES was 1942 though.
Yes.
That game I can
actually underrated right there. Underrated. Love that game.
Yeah, for sure.
Another very
we're going to be
Marble Madness. Marble Madness. You could have a whole tournament.
Oh, that was a good one.
Oh, I hated that game.
I've been playing Super Monkey Ball Banana Blitz for review right now. It's kind of the spiritual successor to Monkey Ball or to Marble Madness. But yeah, it's like they put monkeys and balls and they made them go on those levels that are kind of similar to Marble Madness. But yeah, 2 people playing Marble Madness side by side, I'd watch that.
Oh yeah, that's good stuff.
That's what I mean, man. Like there's like an infinite supply of esports out there. You know what I mean? And like a lot of you look at like what's like the super popular leagues are all focused on one game. So you have these esports players that all they do is play Overwatch all day, or all they do is play Tetris, or all they do is play Call of Duty or Madden or whatever. Our tournaments are gauntlet style, and we make you play different games. So I feel like whenever we have a winner or a champion from any of our tournaments, they're just good at playing video games, period. They're not just good at playing one game, which is what I think a lot of current esports are like. I think that's what differentiates our tournaments, really.
We might have to get you involved. We've got one next month. One of my buddies, Tecmo Jams. He's got they're doing an NBA jam, a Tecmo jam here on the west side of Cleveland. tournament, and then they've added a Dr. Mario. Do you guys remember Dr. Mario?
Oh, nice.
Love.
I love Dr. Mario. So I might enroll in that. So
Yeah,
I might need a Shack News T-shirt to head to that one.
Oh, for sure. Wait, so yeah, they had a Dr. Mario tournament at the Classic Tetris World Championship last weekend too.
Oh, did they really? That's awesome.
Yeah, it was like a side tournament, but yeah, they did. The organizer was super into that. Wait, so this Tecmo tournament, tell me about this. Is this Tecmo Super Bowl or is this Tecmo Bowl or what are they doing?
I believe this one's Tecmo Super Bowl. And
that's the good one.
Yeah, he's been doing it for God. He was on the show. Tecmo James. He changed his Twitter handle, but he's doing it again. It was in Avon Lake last year. He rented out like a Legion Hall, and he was on the news for it. Like it's actually grown into this big tournament, and so they've got guys flying in from all over the place. They got some guys commentating on it last year, so he's added NBA Jam this year, and Dr. Mario and a couple other ones. So I'll send you over the link to it. It's pretty awesome.
I would argue that Tecmo Super Bowl is better than Madden 20.
Oh yeah, I'm with you there. I am with you there.
Like, I'm so over Madden at this point, and the Browns were actually good in Tecmo Super Bowl.
That's the real reason.
No. It's actually I think I just had more fun playing Tecmo Bowl, and like it was always ridiculous when you like called the play, like when you're on defense, you called the offense's play, and it was just like an instant sack, like things like that.
Jailbreak, just jailbreak, yeah.
Yeah, like, but it was like
double
you had like
whistle.
A 1 out of 8 chance, or like a 1 out of 4 chance of calling a jailbreak blitz at any time. So I kind of appreciated, like, there was like some charming things about how the Japanese viewed American football in the early 90s. Like, it was just like kind of kooky, and all that music. Like, there was like injury music, there was like the kickoff music, all that stuff. The presentation, like, honestly, better than Madden, in my opinion. So, no, I might have to hit up that tournament with you.
Yeah,
I think I can do some work I could do some work in Tecmo. I don't know about any of those other ones.
All right, I got Dr. Mario. You got Tecmo. Here we go.
Okay.
What else is going on in Shack News?
Oh man, let's see. We're reviewing it. We're like in the heart of review season right now. There's a lot of big games coming out. You know, you got The Outer Worlds launches this week. Luigi's Mansion launches next week. Luigi's Mansion 3 for Nintendo Switch. Death Stranding is coming out on PS4. That's that Hideo Kojima game.
Okay.
You got Red Dead 2 is coming out on PC. So that's going to be good.
Yeah, you had a cool interview about that when the original came out, Red Dead 2.
Yeah, we got to chat with all of the voice actors from the game, including the voice of John Marston from the original Red Dead. So that was awesome. Yeah, and we have a ton of interview content on our site. We interview just about anyone. We actually had a staff member who was in Germany this weekend, and he got a bunch of interviews from, it's called PDXCon, and so some games out there in Europe that are launching: Surviving the Aftermath, Vampire the Masquerade, Bloodlines 2, Crusader Kings 3, and then this game from John Romero and his wife called Empire of Sin that people are pretty excited about. So yeah, we were kind of all over the place this weekend. But yeah, really right now, reviews. I'm working on 2 right now. All of everyone on our staff is basically assigned to review right now. We just have, if you look at the release calendar, oh yeah, like Call of Duty launches in like a week. So it's kind of the crazy time of year for us, where we're just trying to get as much content out the door as possible, either gameplay, live stream, guides, and reviews.
Love it. All right, one more before we get you out of here. I want a scoring prediction for Patriots-Browns.
Okay, this is we're going to New England, right? Or is this
correct?
Yeah, this is in New England.
This is in New England? Oh, man.
Correct.
And what's the score of the current game?
It's still 24-0. The Jets are really holding them.
Okay.
Impressive
Our
effort.
defense is good. Our defense is really
It
good.
is
Our
good.
D-line is good. Our D-line is going to put Tom Brady on his ass. Okay, I'm gonna go out on a limb here.
Yes.
I'll say the Browns win 24-17.
Wow.
All right, there it is.
I know.
Another prediction for Browns win.
Yes.
It's getting late.
It seems like the kind
People are
seems
going
like the
crazy on our airwaves. Going crazy.
It just seems like the kind of game that the Browns would win. It also seems like the kind of game that the Patriots might sleep on the Browns coming, into Foxborough. So I don't know.
Take
Maybe
all
it's
your
just
money.
a hopeful
Bet on the
fan.
Browns.
That's right. Bold prediction.
I'm not saying to do that. Definitely not saying
Disclaimer,
to do that.
disclaimer.
Don't do that ever. I actually don't gamble on sports because I just enjoy watching them. I play fantasy sports, but that's not like betting on a game,
That is very true.
But yeah. Now, I try because can you imagine being a Cleveland fan and just betting on Cleveland teams the whole time? You'd be broke.
I went a year where I just bet against the Cleveland Browns just to emotionally hedge the game. It was a rough year.
Rebalance the universe.
Was it 2017? Because you would have cleaned up.
I think I got mad and quit like 3 games into it. But what can you do?
I just remember I was in like a Survivor League one year, and that all I did was pick against the Browns that year. I think it was 2017 or 16. It was one of the years we were just dreadful. And then it must have been the year that we won the one game. So yeah, it must have been 2016 because we beat the Chargers that year, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
did. I remember that. Wow.
And I got knocked out of Survivor. It was like Christmas or something.
Christmas Eve. Eve, we beat them.
Yeah.
I was at that game.
I made it
at Cleveland.
Yeah, I made it pretty far that year in Survivor. And then this year, I picked the Browns to win against the Titans because, come on, the Titans didn't look like anything going into the season. And, yeah, I got knocked out the first week of Survivor this year. So that's what I get for picking the Browns. And then, I have Njoku on my team. It's been a mess.
You heard it here first. Browns beating the Patriots. Well done, my man.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for joining the show. We really appreciate the support, and go Brownies. Go Brownies.
Yeah, go Browns. I just think, we got a quarterback in his second year, and I think people need to be realistic about that. Like, it's not like Peyton Manning still sucks at this point in his career, So just kind of simmer down with the Baker's overrated and the fire Freddie. If anything, I think we should get a protest ready for protesting the Haslams if they make another terrible decision, because they're awful.
That's kind of what we did the first time around.
That was the parade, kind of, right? Yeah.
Yeah. That was a lot of that was directed at the Haslams. They would love it to see another parade around First Energy.
Yeah, but I hope that I want a happy parade this time.
There we go. Let's have a 19-0 parade starting next year. 19-0. You guys, Shack News, are going to lead it out. That's the way I want it to be.
Oh, it's too damn cold, man. Like,
yeah.
It was like -8 degrees when you were doing that shit.
Let's do a 9-7. 9-7 parade this year. We'll do it inside at a bar.
Winning season.
Yeah. Yeah, a winning season parade.
There we go.
I like the sound of that. Or if we win the division, we'll have fireworks.
That's what we'll do. All right, my man. We appreciate the time. We'll talk to you soon.
Yep. Keep up the great work, everyone.
Thanks.
Bye.
Everyone head on over to shacknews.com. That was Asif Khan. At TechnoSucks on Twitter. Great stuff from him. Diehard Browns fan. I love he just wanted to talk Browns.
Well, and everything else. We got the Browns. We got the Indians. We got to the Cavs.
How did he sneak Cavs in there?
I don't know. I thought we were going to start in on the Gladiators next, and
Oh yeah, the
maybe break down
monsters really feeling.
monsters, right? Stipe, let's get some Stipe
yes,
talk going.
right?
Let's just roll.
All right, let's keep it going. Let's talk some headlines. We'll get out of here.
All right. Cue music.
There it is. I found it.
There.
Chris, let the people know about Cleveland Clothing Company.
Well, Dave, the temperatures are starting to drop and the leaves are changing colors. Saw that last weekend, which makes it the perfect time to explore the Cuyahoga Valley National Park. Cleveland Clothing Company makes it easy to represent one of Northeast Ohio's favorite outdoor hangouts with its line of Cuyahoga Valley National Park t-shirts. So stop by any of their locations, downtown on East 4th, in Akron at the Summit Mall, East Side in University Circle, and over here by Big Play Studio at Crocker Park, or online, as always, at clevelandclothingcompany.com. Use the promo code BIGPLAY20 to get your 20% off.
That's right. I just picked up one of those hoodies, the CLE with the football, that oatmeal one.
Yes.
My wife already stole it, so I had to order another one.
Of course.
Happens every time. All right, let's talk some Browns. We talked a lot of Browns already, so let's focus on the Patriots game coming up here. Let's see here. So we're 2-4. Okay, we're 2.5 games behind the Ravens for first place. It's super early. We're coming off a bye week.
Just a matter of time. Just a matter of time.
What does that mean? What's a matter of time?
Right? Just us catching up to the Ravens. It's no problem. It's like the Minnesota
jeez.
Twins. You know, they're right there, but don't
you
worry.
had to go
They
there,
can't
Chris.
keep
You
this
had
up.
to go
They
there.
can't keep this up. We've got too much talent. We'll overcome them eventually. Right? No?
Get out of here.
I'm just currently watching the play-by-play of the New England Jets game right now, and I am fearful for next Sunday.
Is it still 24-0?
No, they just got a safety, so it is now 26-0.
Oh my God.
I don't know. Baker Mayfield might have 6 interceptions.
Did Sam Darnold get mono again, or is he playing?
It said Sam Darnold was aborted, so I think he was.
What?
Literally, Sam Darnold aborted. So I'm not sure what's going on.
What
with him.
does that
He's
mean?
Dead. He's dead.
That means he's out indefinitely, I believe.
I've
No, he's still
never
in the
heard
game,
of that.
mate. His spirit is broken.
Good Lord. All right. What are the chances, guys, we see an upset over the Patriots after that comment by Bree? Chris, are we going to upset them? Are you with T-Bone
Sure, why not?
and with
Why
Techno
not?
Sucks? Yes, right?
We're going to do the classic. We're going to end up beating a team like the Patriots, and then we're going to get to the last game of the season, and we're going to hand the Bengals their first win. You know, that's what the Browns do. Right?
Come on.
That's exactly what the Browns do. We have the highs, we have the lows. We are America's roller coaster. We do it all. See all the sights, see all the sounds. Come on, it's the Browns.
Awful.
Maybe New England will have a bad game next week. Maybe.
They could.
That's what I'm hoping for.
Kind of like the
Seattle
Seahawks.
came
Yeah,
back
they
down
look
to
bad.
earth.
But
Short
I mean,
week, you're giving Freddie an extra week. Come on.
Haven't lost a game. They're going to lose eventually. They're not going to go undefeated. They could, but they're going to lose one. It's going to be to us.
So are you guys under the impression that like this season is just complete disaster? Because I was looking through the first 6 games and it isn't that bad. Like it's been bad. It hasn't met up to expectations.
The Titans game?
Yeah, that was horrible. That was the
Niners
worst.
game?
That was probably the
I
worst
mean-
game I've seen. Well, the Niners are a legitimate team, though. I mean, that's like a top 3 defense.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. But it's just so up and down, and just all of the mistakes.
I think that's what it is. It's the up and down. It's like you have no idea what team we're getting on Sunday night or Monday night.
Whenever we play. Who cares? Sometime this weekend, we think.
Yeah. How are we going to beat the Patriots?
Well,
Not turn it over.
we're playing at home, so we can eliminate them getting lost on the way to the stadium. So
Okay.
that's scratch
We got that.
right off. I don't know. Maybe there's some key injuries at the end of this Monday nighter. You know, who knows? Maybe a high ankle sprain for Mr. Tom Brady. I don't know. There's all kinds of possibilities.
He does run QB sneaks a lot.
There you go. There you go. I like to think positively. Think about the kind of injuries that maybe they can rack up by the end of this Monday nighter to give the Browns a chance come next weekend.
Can Sam Darnold can he give them mono? I don't know. Like, did he go lick the locker room? There's got to be something, some disease that can be passed along.
Oh, wow.
Tom Brady kisses a lot of people on the lips, so.
That's true. This is true. Maybe
I
Sam
feel
Darnold
like...
kissed his son, who will then kiss Tom.
Oh, it's getting weird.
I'm tired.
Yeah, I think that's a key to victory. I think that could be Bree. I think so.
I mean, is a plague out of the question? I mean,
all right, who is a better offense, the Jets or the Browns?
Browns.
Okay. So we have to get the offense going. Is it we talk about this every week? Is it
madness.
Is it the run?
Madness.
Is it the run that we need to?
We need to establish the run game. It's going to be hard to pass on the Patriots.
So for you guys to be happy when we go into this game, do you want to see us go extremely run heavy?
Yes, I would
yes,
completely
no
agree.
Doubt about it.
That and Scottish hammer heavy.
Just it's second and 9. Oh, here comes a punt.
Jimmy Gillen comes out.
It's a fake.
Look for
Maybe
a fake
attempting
here,
field
folks.
goals from the 50.
That would be awesome. Just have him take over this ball game. That's the real key to the victory, is have Jamie Gillen take over this ball game.
Yeah, we got another Jamie that we're playing against. So Nick, our producer, puts some of these notes together for us as Bree throws up in the corner there. These were weird matchups. So you look at the Patriots, you look at the Browns here. I'm gonna give you guys a couple of stats. More sacks, Chris. I'm gonna ask you this: Myles Garrett or Jamie Collins? Remember that guy?
Oh, remember the great effort he gave for us when he was over here at the Cleveland Browns.
Hey man, he's got 4.5 sacks.
Jamie-
4.5 sacks on the year.
And system. You talk about a system player. Myles Garrett's a beast, and he'll continue to be a beast.
He's got 9 on the season. I believe he's number 1 for the NFL, or at least tied for it.
It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable what he's doing in there. And I hate to waste that effort that he's giving out there with some of the other mistakes that we're making all over the place. What a great individual effort he seems to give just about every week.
And a lot of people were ripping on Olivier Vernon over the last few weeks, saying, that trade was a bust. I don't think Myles Garrett, I don't think he gets in all of these sacks if Olivier Vernon's not out in the field.
Absolutely, especially along the line. And you see the way these players work together, and I think that's an important component of this. So, no, I'm not going to rip on an individual player like that because somebody's got more sacks or seems to be more productive, because they do work as a team on that line. So, no, I'm with you.
All right, Bree, new Browns versus old Browns again. Jarvis Landry or Josh Gordon? Who's getting more yards in this one?
Jarvis. Josh Gordon isn't even going to play. He's dead to me.
Oh, yes. I don't think he played tonight, did he?
Yeah, he didn't.
He didn't.
So
play
hopefully
tonight.
he'll be out again next week.
All right, we'll take that. Let's see.
Somebody drops speed in his.
You know what?
Ooh.
Knowing freaking Bill Belichick, not only will he start him, he'll make him a captain for that game. So he's got to walk out.
Right.
That is pure Bill Belichick.
It should be all former Browns players as captain.
Jamie Collins, Barkevius Mingo. I don't know. Is he still around?
Guy with the long hair.
Danny Shelton's still there. Yeah. Not Jabril Peppers. Who was the DN? Jabril Sheard, remember him? Jabal Sheard, yeah.
And then Bill Belichick himself. There you go. Yeah. Beat me to it. He'll walk out there with them. Ultimate troll.
Chris, who's getting sacked?
All of them.
Who's getting sacked more in this one? Baker or Tom Brady?
If we have any shot in the world, it's going to be Tom Brady.
He's been sacked 10 times on the year. That's actually higher than I thought it would be.
Yeah, we'll sack him another 10. How about that?
All right, 19 sacks for Myles Garrett on the year. Bree, longer punt, Jamie Gillen or Jake Bailey? Gillen's got a 71-yard.
Hammer.
Yeah.
All the way.
I'm with you there. Who's going to get more penalties?
Is that a real question?
Yeah, I mean, come on. Give us odds on this. Like, is it 2-1?
We've had 2 weeks to prepare.
Yeah. Okay, 3-1. I mean, It's not exactly a good thing, I don't think. I don't want to give this guy more time based upon the game plans that I've seen and the mistakes that we've already made. No, I think the Browns are going to continue to be plagued by penalties, and once again, it's our fault. I know that the refs, everybody likes to blame them, but the refs are horrible across the league. Everybody's complaining.
Very true.
Just suck it up and get your work done. Come on, you got 2 weeks to prepare. This is really a time where Freddie Kitchens has got to show his wares as a young head coach, whether he can learn from the mistakes that he's made, this team has made, and be able to put together a coherent game plan and also a relatively mistake-free effort when you're playing a team like the Patriots. So this one's going to be on him.
Bree, over under. Points scored by the Browns offense in this game versus the Patriots. It's at 20.
Whew. I'm going under.
Just what?
You're going
Come on, Bree.
under?
It's a word.
Yeah.
That is
It's
so
gonna be a
against the
defensive
brand.
shootout.
Come on, where's optimistic Pollyanna over
Yeah,
here? Come on, Bree.
Yeah, I have to get my optimism like early on in the morning. As the day wears on, I get more pessimistic.
She's going to be like, Browns aren't winning again this season.
Right. It's going to be 11 o'clock. We're never
All right.
winning again.
Let's roll.
We're never winning. We're doomed.
Yeah. All right. Receiving yards for OBJ and Landry. 150 for this game. Chris.
150 for either of them?
For both.
For both
combined.
I see. 150. Yeah, I'd
I
take
see.
that. I say we can go over that number. I think we would need to win, really.
Do you think we're scoring over 20?
I do. I think it's going to be a shootout, believe it or not.
Do you
I
really?
really do. I think it's going to be uncharacteristic. You're going to see a Browns team that's more energized. I think Freddie Kitchens is going to put a lot of effort into the offense, so I think that's going to come out a little bit more up-tempo, a little bit more pushing the ball, and I think the Patriots are going to respond in kind. So we're going to see a war through the air, hopefully through the ground as well with Nick Chubb. A lot of Chubb.
A lot of Chubb, pounded with Chubb. All right. Let's end the show. Let's do no bold predictions.
Now, wait a second. Let's just gloss over the fact that
What?
I nailed my bold prediction from last week.
Oh boy. So did I think.
I said the Buckeyes were going to win 150-0 over Northwestern, and I went to bet
Nailed
the
it.
third, and I think that's the way that game pretty much ended up. So give me a ding. I think that one counts.
Hold on. Let me find it. There we go. We have to, all right, we said we were going to rank our Halloween movies. Let's do it quickly, all right?
All right. Are we going to go out with these? Go out with the Halloween
We're going to go
movies?
out with the Halloween movies, Power Rank Monday, presented by Hover Helmets. Let's get this going. Power Rank Monday. Bree, don't fall asleep. We got some good music coming here.
Oh boy.
It's time for Power Rank Monday.
All right. We are talking Halloween. What are we doing? Movies?
Movies.
Scariest movies? Is that what we're doing?
Yeah. You know, the ones that your favorite Halloween movie, horror movie.
Yeah.
All right.
Creepy.
Scariest, creepiest Halloween movie presented by Hover Helmets. We've got, 10 days till Halloween?
Coming up.
That's right.
Week from Thursday.
I cannot think of anything spookier than this floating hover helmet that we've got here in the studio. If you are a Browns fan, if you are a Buckeyes fan, if you're an NFL fan, if you're a college sports fan, they have a hover helmet for you. Go check them out at hoverhelmets.com, at hoverhelmets on Twitter. We got a few more of these we're going to have to give away throughout the season. Maybe if the Patriots win, we'll give one away. What do you think?
What? Is this reverse psychology? Or are you talking about the game tonight?
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's a lock. All right, maybe if the Browns win, we'll give one away.
There we go.
I'm tired.
There we go.
All right, let's power rank these. My number 3,
Ding.
scariest movie. I'm going Alien. It's not really a Halloween movie.
Never saw it.
You never saw Alien?
Wow.
No.
Wow.
She's young.
No
Okay.
kidding.
Did-
So I went to a sleepover when I was 10 at my friend's house, and No, I was probably younger. I was probably like 8. And the older brothers made us watch this, and I was just petrified. Like, I was so scared. I don't think I've watched a scary movie since.
Sigourney Weaver.
Oh, dude, yeah, that was scary when it came out of the stomach there, the alien. All right,
it's classic.
Oh, my number 2. I'm going with Get Out. Have you guys seen this?
I still have not.
It's
kicking myself for having not seen
incredible.
this.
So the director of it just came out with a newer one earlier this year. I'm blanking on the name of it, but it was okay. But Get Out is, I think it's, when you look up horror films, it's the number 1 rated horror film.
Okay.
So
I gotta
go check it out. It's fantastic. And my number 1, I'm going with Scream.
Yes, classic.
Yes,
I agree.
I remember buying the mask, buying the knife, and going to the
Terrifying.
theater. And then he kills someone at the movie theater. I'm just like, okay, this is really scary. I'm like, I don't even think you could do that nowadays.
That's
probably
true.
not.
Yeah.
And it was fun because it was kind of a cynical play on all the movies too, while still being a movie in its own right. And it came out right at that right time, right? You and I were just in our formative years too, Dave, when it was like cool. And, you know, you had the girls who were, you know, enough eye candy in that as well. So yeah, that was a good one.
Absolute classic. That's right. Chris, what are your top 3?
Okay. My number 3, Faces of Death. Do you remember Faces of Death? This was kind of one of those that these days would be on the dark web, but those days they were like in VHS form. You guys remember Faces of Death?
No, what was it? I don't remember that at all.
So it was supposedly or purportedly real stories of death. I mean, they were the original videos of people actually dying. And as it turned out, some of them were true, some of them were real, some of them were not. And it was like this, it was wrapped up in this corny type of a storyline that went along with it, with this doctor who was trying to do like a narrative documentary type of thing on these cases and have them as, I don't know, like stories of warning about what not to do in life. But yeah, Faces of Death.
So that was the fictional plot, or that?
It was fictional, but parts of it were not fictional. These were actual people like dying in some of these scenes.
Nope, no thanks.
You have to look it up. Yeah, Faces of Death. And we learned about it. So I first saw it. This is crazy. Talk about things you wouldn't see anymore. We learned about drawing and quartering. If you guys have ever heard of what that is, which is basically where 2 horses, you get a victim and you tie up their extremities to 2 horses and have the horses run in opposite directions and just tear you apart.
Ew.
So yeah, that used to happen all the time. Right back in the medieval times, and our professor, our poli-sci professor,
what is going
teacher,
on?
I guess this was high school, thought it would be a good idea to show us an example of that, and that was on Faces of Death. There was a person being drawn and quartered, so we watched that in class.
I will never see that.
Oh yeah,
Wow.
yeah. Look it up.
Randall
Faces
education.
That's right. All right, my number 2, Creep Show. You guys seen Creep Show?
No.
Oh wow. Now, this one was really, really tragically underrated. It was Stephen King. It was his first screenwriting movie. It's the first one that he screenwrote for. It was his stuff. Ted Danson was in it.
Oh, wow.
Leslie Nielsen was in it, playing a serious role.
What?
And Stephen King, of course, was in it himself, like he does in a lot of his movies and his works. But it was basically like supposedly a comic book, and it told like 4 or 5 stories, and it was really well done. Also scarred me for life. My uncle showed this to me when I was a kid and totally scarred me. But yes, definitely worth a view. If you haven't seen it, Creep Show is really good. And then my number 1. This should be everybody's number 1. Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah.
My buddy on the way, I was like 16, watched it with my buddy on the way to a golf tournament in their car. And it completely scarred me. I can't believe I could even play golf that day. I mean, it's just so psychological while still, visually stunning at the same time. That movie really messed me up in my childhood and in a good way because, I turned out so well. But Silence of the Lambs, number 1.
Bree, what do you got for us?
All right, guys. My number 3 is Saw, which just
Saw.
That stupid little guy on his tricycle, his little mask, and essentially conning people to have to kill people and do horrible things in order to survive. Hated it.
I saw this. I just rewatched this like 2 weeks ago.
Did you?
And I was just flipping through the channels, I think, on HBO, and it was like the scene where the guy with the blonde hair, I think he was in like Robin Hood maybe back in the day, was just cutting his leg off.
I can't. Nope. Horrible.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Right
Number
there.
2, Candyman. Saw this at a sleepover. I was really young. To this day, I still hate being in bathrooms with the lights off and a mirror in them. I refuse.
Fair enough. I never saw that.
You never saw it?
No.
Oh, terrifying. The guy shows up when you're in the mirror and you say, what do you have to say? I'm not saying it. He's going to come.
Yeah, I don't
number
like
1.
that. He's going to show up by your green screen.
Number 1, Children of the Corn. Anything with super creepy, devilish children, I hate. But also, I live near a ton of farmland and corn stalks. And we always used to have parties, football games. Like, we'd hang out in people's backyards with the corn stalks. And just terrifying.
I was school keggers.
Yeah, I was super scared of that.
Keggers. I could just see it now, Bree.
Do you think that movie? Do you think it still holds up? Like, if you watched it today, or like our kids watch it, would that be scary?
I think so.
I remember being terrified of that one. Yeah.
I'm surprised no one said The Shining. Talk about another one.
Chris, I thought you were putting it on there, so I just omitted it.
Not Shining on there. No,
that's a good one.
That would have been a good one, though.
That's right.
Been a good one.
All right, that was a wild show.
That was a wild show.
I'm gonna go with nightmares.
All right, Bree.
Yes.
Yeah, I've definitely had enough.
Nightmares.
Let me cue some. We'll play that song that guy sent me one more time.
I loved it. He did a great job.
Yeah, it's a great song. Shout out to him as well.
It'll be my hype song on Sunday.
Right. Yes. There we go. All right, thanks for tuning in. We will see you guys next Monday after the Patriots lose to the Browns.
The Cleveland Browns is going down. We the talk of all towns. Look around, no frowns. Oh yeah, see time. We been sitting and just waiting. I want all of it. These people faking and they hating. Just keep talking. You gon' feel this, they gon' hear us. We keep barking, Chris. And when it comes to Cleveland, we are all in this. Yeah. Kenny from Baker, some may say throw sauce not safer. Anton get a bad rap like Vader. Going deep, taking toss off like taper. This bro freak get smoke like vapor. To the house, oh yeah, see you later. We tougher than alligators. We'll beat you right now and later. Woo, woo. Got a blessing on flow cold like juice play. Yes, just know you might lose. These crazy call them typhoons. Can't block them, oh yeah, nice moves. Who the stop don't know, oh yeah, Pikachu. We really all hate the